What's up, everyone? Decided to do a video about last night's Stone Cold podcast and it returning to the WWE Network. It was fucking awesome. Great interview with Paul Heyman. I wish it would have went longer. I could listen to those guys talk to each other for hours and hours. I'm a big Stone Cold fan. Big Paul Heyman mark. I'll drink his Kool-Aid any day. And I wish it went longer. I think it was about an hour, 15 minutes maybe. Or maybe just 1 hour. I didn't keep time on it. Went by very fast when I watched it after Raw. And first thing, the main thing that I'm going to talk about is what Paul Heyman asked Stone Cold at the end of the I don't like calling it a podcast because it's really a TV show of them. It's just an interview of them talking on the WWE Network, and it was on TV. So I don't consider that a podcast. Maybe Stone Cold will put his interview with Paul Heyman on his website, and it will be a podcast to listen to. But last night was just a WWE Network show and special. I'm really glad WWE and Vince McMahon brought back Stone Cold and the podcast to the network because it is great. Stone Cold is no bullshit. He doesn't bullshit around. My bad. I didn't talk because my brother just came back in the house. He was out fixing our car. Anyways, you might hear someone in the background moving, going in and out of a door. That's just my brother. Don't pay attention to it, and it's not important. Anyways, back to the show and WWE and Vince McMahon having the brains enough to bring back Stone Cold to the network to do his show. It's entertaining as hell. It's great. And in the past, Stone Cold, his interviews with Vince and Triple H in the past have been some of the most watched shows on the network. So it was best for business to bring Stone Cold back to the network. Bottom line. And then you had Heyman and Stone Cold start talking about, Stone Cold brought it up. The main thing I'm going to talk about, and I'll get to it, is at the end when Paul Heyman asked Stone Cold, let me ask you a question. Are you going to come back and wrestle at WrestleMania 32 in your home state of Dallas, Texas, and basically break an indoor attendance record with? And are you going to wrestle Brock Lesnar, or are you going to fight Brock Lesnar in return at WrestleMania 32? And I don't know if this was a freaking storyline and this was planting the seeds to Brock versus Stone Cold? I don't know that. Stone Cold got super serious like that. I mean, a switch turned on inside Stone Cold. For sure, he got super serious. He started staring down Paul Heyman like he's going to kick his ass. That was awesome. And then Stone Cold basically said, Paul, I'll whoop Brock Lesnar's ass. You know that, and everybody knows that. Stone Cold basically said he would beat Brock Lesnar's ass at WrestleMania 32, and that he would not have a technical wrestling match with Brock Lesnar. And he said, Paul, I got 3 words for you. Texas Death Match. And I agree. Texas Death Match. Lesnar versus Stone Cold. WrestleMania 32. Going to be one of the biggest shows ever in WWE history. I'm sure it will break the AT&T Stadium. I'm sure it'll break their indoor attendance record, whatever it is. I think a country artist broke the record, and 100,000 people showed up to see George Strait. I don't listen to George Strait's music. I'm not a fan of country music, so I don't care about George Strait breaking the attendance record. But WWE, if they have 3 to 4 epic top main event matches for WrestleMania 32, they can break the record, no doubt about it. And they'll set a record. And I'm sure they'll make a huge, huge amount of money. And they'll probably gross more money than any WrestleMania that they ever grossed for before. Stone Cold versus Lesnar. Is this a seed that was planted? Was this set up by Paul Heyman? And was this set up by the WWE to have Stone Cold against Brock at next year's WrestleMania? Was it set up? It kind of seemed like it. To me, it seemed like it, but maybe Heyman just, as a friend of Stone Cold's, maybe Heyman just asked him, are you going to return at WrestleMania 32? Maybe because Paul Heyman just wants to see his friend Stone Cold in Dallas at WrestleMania. I don't know. And then, first off, before I talk about the next topic, if Lesnar and Stone Cold have a match at WrestleMania 32, it should be a no DQ street fight. It should be a Texas death match style of a match. That would make the most sense. Because Stone Cold is a brawler. He's not gonna he's not gonna do technical wrestling at his age. I think he's 50 years old or 49. He's a brawler. If he does return, I don't think he'll return, but I can definitely see Vince McMahon and WWE probably throwing millions at Stone Cold to come back for one more match. Maybe a retirement match. You can put a Texas death match gimmick and put that onto the match. And then you could say if Stone Cold, this is Stone Cold's retirement match and his farewell. If you add that on, it would draw 100,000 people probably. But Stone Cold hasn't wrestled since WrestleMania 19 in 2003 versus The Rock. He's been out of the ring a long time. And Brock Lesnar, at 36 years old, I think he's 36. Brock Lesnar is in his prime. Stone Cold's like 50. He's not in his prime anymore. So I think Lesnar would destroy him in a wrestling match or in a fight for sure. Because Brock is a fucking beast. He's a one-of-a-kind athlete, one-of-a-kind talent. You're never going to see another Brock Lesnar in the WWE anytime soon. And Stone Cold is an all-time great. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a legend. He's an icon. He's definitely on the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. I mean, he's on mine, along with Hogan and Flair and HBK and Taker. I don't know if I just said 4 or 5 names, but HBK, Taker, Hogan, Flair, Stone Cold. That's my wrestling Mount Rushmore. Anyways, Stone Cold versus Lesnar. Will it happen? I don't think it will, but I would love to see it happen. Definitely, I would love to see it happen. And I'd be glued to my TV watching that match at WrestleMania 32 for sure, if I don't go to the show. I'm hoping to go to WrestleMania 32. It's like, I don't know, 10 months away. I think 10 months away. I'm hoping to be there. If I'm not there, I'll definitely be watching for $9.99 on the network. Other topics Stone Cold and Paul Heyman talked about. Stone Cold started talking about guys not selling moves anymore. In 2015, guys do not many, maybe 3 to 4, or maybe only, I don't know, handful of guys only truly, really know how to sell moves nowadays. I mean, the new guys, as Stone Cold said, they're great athletes. They're better athletes than Stone Cold in the generation before Stone Cold. The guys like Dolph Ziggler, great athlete, hell of an athlete. Better than basically 80% of, or 70% of the guys that worked in the late 80s in the WWF. Who else? Cesaro, great athlete, great wrestler. Tyson Kidd, great athlete. I mean, Big E, great athlete. Jack Swagger, great athlete. A lot of guys. Seth Rollins, super athlete. The guy can do corkscrew flip over the top rope and land on his freaking feet. That's tremendous. But what they were talking about, and Stone Cold brought up, Jake the Snake and his DDT. When he would DDT someone and use his finishing maneuver, and a lot of guys I'll bring up, when they used their finishing maneuver in the late 80s and early 90s, other guys sold for them. And they would not get up, and they would not kick out. If you do a DD, if you do your finishing move on the other guy, sell the fucking move and don't kick out. That's pointless to be kicking out. I mean, you hit your finishing move. Dolph Ziggler, for example, if he hits a zigzag on someone, don't kick out freaking twice in the match. You should not even kick out once. I blame WWE and Vince for that. Vince should be telling these guys when a guy hits his finishing move on you, do not kick out and sell the move. Sell it like you're supposed to. For example, guys like Macho Man, when he would hit his flying elbow, nobody would kick out, and they shouldn't have. It was his finishing move for a reason, and they sold it for a reason, and that was best for business. Hogan, when he would drop his leg, guys would not kick out for a reason, and they shouldn't have. Jake the Snake, DDT, they shouldn't have kicked out, and they did not. And it can go on and on. I can go on and on and on about this and blab about it. But guys, in 2015, I don't know if it's the new generation or if it's how they think. They just want to hit high spot after high spot and do all these amazing moves. And they're great athletes and they want to do all these amazing moves. But they're not selling enough. And it's pretty damn sad, in my opinion. But it's good to see Neville, when he hits the red arrow, it's good to see guys sell and not kick out of that. But guys did kick out of that in NXT. I'm pretty sure Sami Zayn kicked out of the red arrow, and Kevin Owens probably has also, and maybe other guys have. But red arrow, great finishing move. Guys should sell it. And guys, nowadays, I agree with Stone Cold, and I agree with Paul Heyman. They need to sell moves more. That is a lost art, and I'm an old school fan, and I like the new generation, and I like the wrestling in 2015, and I like the talent. There is great talent, but they have to sell better people. They have to sell the fucking moves, high impact moves that they should not be kicking out of. They kick out of, and it's just sad. And it should change. But I doubt it will change because it's 2015 and things will probably get worse before they get better. But this selling is a lost art. In the old generation, the guys of the past did it the right way. Guys like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker. Can't really say Mick Foley because him and Taker in that Hell in a Cell match. Basically, Mick Foley first got thrown off the cell and he should have died. That spot was fucking insane. I can't even believe Mick Foley did it and had enough. I mean, gotta have a lot of balls to tell Taker, I want you to throw me off a 20-foot cell and I'll land on the table and I'll be fine. Mick Foley probably has the biggest balls in the history of the business out of any wrestler I've ever watched or seen. And Foley didn't really sell the chokeslam. I mean, Foley got up after he got thrown off the cell, got up, climbed up the cell, I guess, to show it was the Attitude Era, and it made sense that he wanted to beat the hell out of Taker and continue the match. And it just showed us that Mick Foley is the toughest man on earth, in my opinion. But then he got chokeslammed through the cell, and then I don't know if Taker didn't try to pin him right after that, but Mick Foley basically got up and the match continued. And then he got chokeslammed on probably 5,000 thumbtacks. And then the match continued, and it should have ended much sooner. And then Taker, of course, tombstones him, and then it ends. But I agree with Stone Cold. You gotta sell moves. I mean, finishing moves, you gotta sell, and guys should not be kicking out of someone's finisher 2 to 3 times in a match. Or else there's no point on having any finishing moves if you're going to kick out of every goddamn move. There's no point to have a guy have a finishing move. But next I'm going to talk about what Stone Cold questioned Paul Heyman and said, did you ever do cocaine? Did you ever do a line of cocaine? And Paul Heyman basically was laughing, and he was telling Stone Cold, and I'm sure he was being honest, but Paul Heyman has lied in the past, but that's when he was the owner of ECW. He had a reason to lie. He had to lie, basically. And sometimes in life, you have to lie. And if you don't lie, and if you're watching this, and you have never lied to anybody in your life, if you've never lied to a family member, if you have never lied to a friend, or lied to a best friend, or lied to a boyfriend, or lied to a girlfriend, then you're a better person than me. Because I have lied many times. But in the past, I've lied. and they weren't big lies. So, big deal. Everybody has lied. Everybody, nobody's perfect. Paul Heyman was not perfect when he was running ECW. He did a lot of bad things. He bounced a lot of checks on guys. He didn't pay a lot of guys that were busting their ass for him, and they're working basically in ECW for free because all their checks bounced. RVD is old, probably $65,000, still hasn't got paid. RVD's on old money. Spike Dudley worked for free, basically, never got paid. He said on the ECW DVD he got paid like $75. That's nothing. That's like not getting paid to get the hell beaten out of your body, to take all those bumps, get thrown in the crowd by Bam Bam Bigelow, then you get paid $75. That's like working for free. But Heyman lied to a lot of guys, and he didn't pay a lot of guys. Big deal. That's the past. He's not doing that anymore. And big deal that he lied to people. Everybody has lied before in their life. And as I said, if you have not lied in your life, good for you. You're a better person than me and than a lot of people. So, basically, Paul Heyman said, no, I've not done cocaine. I've never done a line of cocaine. Never. Never. And then he brought up that he's Jewish and that he would have Jewish guilt. And I believe him. Heyman, back in the day, when he was managing in the late 80s and early 90s, Paul Heyman was super hyper. That was just him. He was a super hyper person. I mean, a lot of it had to do with cutting his promos. That's how he cut his promos. He talked really fast. He yelled. And that was his style of cutting promos. And it worked for him. I don't think he ever did cocaine. But I thought that was funny that Stone Cold on the podcast, on the network, asked Paul Heyman, have you ever done a line of cocaine? I thought that was funny as hell. Anyways, back to the end, when Stone Cold got really serious and started staring down Paul Heyman and said, I'm about to advocate an ass kicking on your ass. And Stone Cold basically started yelling at Paul Heyman. Not yelling at him, but he said, I'm about to kick your ass. And that was great. And I don't think he'll return for a match. But if he does, I think it'd be great. And that's all I gotta say. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did not enjoy it, I don't care. Anyways, the Stone Cold WWE Network special podcast with Paul Heyman was great. I loved it. I wish it went longer. And it could have went longer. It should have been 2 hours long, but it was not. And the next one is in July. I believe the Undertaker is the guest in July. I could be wrong, but Stone Cold is back on the network in July with either the Undertaker as a guest. If it's not Undertaker, his guest will be Sting. I'm looking forward to it. Hope everyone enjoyed the Stone Cold Paul Heyman podcast. I hope you enjoyed this video. Follow me on Twitter at TNAWWE Guy. Bye for now.